is Afsana Rahim Lakhani. I am the moderator for today's evening. This webinar will help you understand the upcoming changes, answer all your queries, and work out the optimal route for you. TLG's webinar brings together experts from real estate, residency, and citizenship sector, property market, and media. The key topics that will be discussed today are investments, Portugal Golden Visa 2022, about Portugal and how it's an attractive market for the real estate, the details of Golden Visa and its success to date, overview of the real estate market and the forecast for the future, what makes Portugal as most attractive is in the EU destination amidst the pandemic situation, and the impact of the changes of Golden Visa rules in the real estate market. So before we dive into your webinar, let me do a quick temperature check. We would request you to keep your audio off at all times, keep your phones on the silent mode, and get the most out of this webinar by hearing us out. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type it in the Zoom in the chat box. So we will have time for the question towards the end after each panelist. So let us start our webinar by watching a short video on Portugal.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, hi, Rahim.
Hello.
For him, we don't have audio.
I think as appealing the video is, sorry about the audio, we couldn't hear the audio. However, we could see the beautiful pictures of Lisboa and how appealing it is to the real estate market, as well as Portugal is great in providing the best investment and immigration options. And we have our experts to talk more about it. So let's begin by welcoming our three amazing speakers. So today in our panelists, we have Isabel Teixeira de Freitas, and Isabel is a real estate consultant and KW at KW ÁBACO. And our second panelist is Peng Xia, and Peng is an acquisition and project manager at Estia Developments. And our final panelist is Rahim Lakhani, who is the asset manager at the Lakhani Group SCR Lisbon. So thank you everyone for taking time out to have as a panelist to our webinar. So let me give a short introduction about the first panelist in the room, and I will hand it over to her. The first panelist, as I mentioned, is Isabel, who is a real estate consultant at KW. She has 20 years of experience in consultancy. As a real estate consultant, she is an expert in coaching, quality management, and negotiations. So thank you so much, Isabel, for being a part of this webinar, and the forum is all yours.
Hello to everyone, and welcome to this webinar. It is always interesting to have more and more people interested in coming to our country. in fact, Portugal as a whole and Lisbon particularly have a very good geographical situation, location, let's say, and also a very nice climate. But these are not the only reasons why foreign investors and foreign nationals want to come and visit and live in Portugal. Depending on the amount you want to invest, but also on your personal preference and the lifestyle that you intend to have, you can choose between very different locations. And we have very nice properties, either in coastal, but also downtown in the city, and also in the interior areas of Portugal, or down in the south, or even in the islands. So it all depends on amount of investment, personal preferences, and lifestyle. It is important, naturally, that you choose someone who can help you choose the right location, and also the adequate rentability, profitability that you want for your investment, in case first you are not coming to live during the whole year in Portugal, but maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and you want to secure a very nice place to live maybe in the future. So Portugal and Lisbon can offer very nice conditions also in terms of tax and tax benefits. And you can also depending on the composition of your household, like if you have or children studying in university, for instance, you can find very good institutions, educational institutions for them. We also welcome a lot of digital nomads and a lot of young people, and so your children can also have a relationship with a wide variety of nationalities. And for some nationalities, our health institutions, our hospitals and clinics, are also considered very good standard, let's say. And as the country is not so big, you will always find yourself near to one of our big and modern hospitals too. So adequate is on your side, but also on our side to help you fulfill it. The cost of life in Portugal is also not so high, and we have a lot of modern facilities, a wide range of natural products for your consumption. So when you choose to come and live in Portugal, you can enjoy a quiet and good life, and not to spend so much, such high amounts for that. That's why many times we are chosen by people who retire and enjoy the half the year in Portugal, maybe half the year in the homeland. Why not? So, reasons we welcome Portugal, and we hope to be able to help you in accomplishing your aim. Either it is to live permanently in Portugal part of your time, or have here a good investment and profitability.
It's amazing. Thank you so much, Isabel, for sharing your thoughts about Portugal and how Portugal is an amazing place to invest as well as settle down. So, in your experience, since you are a very experienced person in this market and in this country, so what kind of changes you have seen since last year to over this year, given that the rules for the real estate has changed?
Yes, they have changed, but naturally, as we know, people will always invest in what they intend to invest. Always be a solution in order to facilitate the investors in accomplishing their aims. So now there are some conditions, as we know, that real estate investment in residential properties is limited to interior areas of Portugal, to the islands, but foreign investors still have the chance to invest in residential property. Touristic property, and in this kind of property, they can also live. So there are always solutions coming up, and also new projects that are being started or accomplished that will accommodate their interest too.
Yeah. Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for responding. And I always keep on wondering, after the new changes which has come in the law, is there a big demand for the people to go towards the interior region as compared to the urban areas in Portugal?
Well, there are some nationalities and people who have certain personal preferences and preferable lifestyle that like to go to the interior, but we cannot say it is the majority. We know that Portugal is a country with a long coastline, and line is much sought after. But as Portugal is not such a big country in terms of dimension, even if you live some kilometers away from the coast, you can still reach the beaches very comfortably. So there are other possibilities near the nearness of the big cities. So many people don't want exactly to live in the middle of the turmoil of a big city. Some have that choice, but others don't. So you can find adequate locations of big cities like Lisbon, and with good accessibility to beaches and in the countryside, and with a very good life quality.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Isabel. And also about if you can explain like who a family member can be when it comes to golden visa. Like, you mentioned that the family can also get benefits when they apply for the residency program. So who are included in these, in this regime?
So the children that are still supported by the parents, they can also come and benefit, and they can be studying in very good universities. And as we know, students in the Erasmus program, they are traveling to namely Portugal, very much. So the children of our investors in Portugal, they can come to a multinational city and studies with very good quality. Our universities have very good quality. It is not difficult to find even courses in English, like management. It's very frequent that the courses are given even in foreign language, and then they can entertain relationships with people from their own country that are coming in Erasmus programs, and from other countries, like young people always love so much. If the children are even younger, we also have very good colleges, like the Charles Pierre for the French and English and even German, that the teaching is given in their own language. So there are a lot of possible, the whole family, not only for one person or a couple.
Amazing, amazing. This shows that Portugal is not just meant to retire, but it also can be
No.
uh, a progressive one for the kids and for the other family members too.
Yes, we
Thank
also
you.
have,
Yes,
yeah, we
sorry.
also have the fiscal the tax benefits for people who are not habitual residents. This is also very good because it's attracting a lot of digital nomads to Portugal, and people who are independent professionals, but also some who work for certain companies that prefer to have their staff working from Portugal, even if they pay a part of social security tax, but still it compensates to them due to the very good conditions or the very low rate for income, for annual yearly income. So a lot can be done.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Sorry, Rahim and Peng has been silent for a while. So if you have any questions for Isabel, we are here, and if we can have any discussion around it.
Yeah, if I may ask, Isabel, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge. Um, I would actually love to know a little bit more about Keller Williams. The company as a whole. How Williams has been doing in what are the expansion thoughts, how are things going out there, just I think even our audience would love to know, when they get represented by a Keller Williams agent, what is the differentiation between you versus going out with someone else. So if you couldn't actually share your experience with KW.
So KW is in fact the real estate company worldwide. Although Keller Williams positioning is as a training company and technological company. So the mentor of Keller Williams, Mr. Gary Keller, he is a renowned expert in this area, and he is the author of the bestsellers Million Real Estate. Yes, the MREA, the Million Real Estate Agents, and the Only Thing, which are read by every good professional in the area.
Good book.
And yeah, it's very good. And what Gary Keller happened to do with all the team, of course, it was very original, let's say very unique, because he was so humble as to travel through the States and meet all the top producers, the best one, learn from them. What were their tactics, their techniques, and which ones had the best outcome? And so he collected all this knowledge, worked through his great intelligence and capacity, and he built models. And with those models in KW, we are easily teach new people entering the market to become very good professionals. And then KW is also making a great investment in technology, like 1 billion, in order to get the possibility of a unique interface between the consultant and the client, so that we don't have to use emails and external means, but we can very in a very direct way and an organized way interact. So technology is always very important to support the quality of service. And in Portugal, so two very good how should very good top rate real estate consultants who already managed their own market center. They decided to negotiate with KW International the representation, the franchise for Portugal. And they have had big success, and in very few years, like 7 years, they have come already to 2,500 associates, consultants. And the number of market centers also increasing a lot. So the rate of growth has been enormous. And the ambition is to be the biggest too. So ÁBACO is the biggest market center, so real estate agency, let's say in Europe, and the biggest one of KW outside United States. The investment that is done. So now our headquarters are in a very good area of a business center, let's say in Lisbon, Sete Rios. You've been there. We had the pleasure to welcome you there. And I can say that 60% of our business is done between the associates who are in the same market center, because it's so big that we can potentiate the business and accelerate the sale. Let's say if a real estate property is in correct market price, it will sell up to between 30 and 60 days.
Okay.
So these numbers. So the professional training in KW is, it's a essential feature. And then also the fact that each professional, when starting, is accompanied by a productivity coach, so that they can improve their techniques and their performance.
That's fantastic. No, it's good to learn, because sometimes it's not always apples to apples. Sometimes every agent has their own unique experience to get trained with, and and it's always good to know who is the company behind, and what is the powerhouse behind, and what are the tools that you have access to, so that you can service the client better. So it's actually a refreshing thing to know that KW takes this very, very seriously in terms of technology, in terms of customer service. So yeah, it's refreshing. Back to you, Sam.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Isabel and Rahim, for the questionnaire. And it's time for us to move ahead with our second panelist in the room. So we have Mr. Peng Xia and in the forum. And Peng Xia currently serves as an acquisition and project manager at SCR Developments. He has a vast experience in real estate market, from sales, acquisition, project licensing, and development to the golden visa processes. So thank you so much, Mr. Peng, for being here, and the forum is all yours. We are not able to hear you, Peng.
Thank you, Svana. Thank you for the Lakhani group to invite me to this webinar. It's a pleasure for me to be here. My name is Peng, and I have worked in the real estate for 7 years. I started as a sales, then 2.5 years ago, I started as an acquisition and project manager. I have been worked from beginning mostly with golden visa clients, which is a main purpose of the previous company that I have worked. Then I joined 2.5 years ago in this company. It's called Estia, which is a developer, and it's not only focused on Golden Visa, but also since is have a vast of experience in the area, still work on that. So my presentation will be more based on the golden visa changes from this year, because Isabel have explained all about Portugal and the benefits of Portugal, and have explained very well, I think. So maybe I will go further in terms of golden visa process. So what I have experienced in terms of golden visa is the number are recovering from before COVID time. In 2021, we experienced a decrease of number of golden visa, but this year, at least until now, I'm seeing that the number is increasing again, and we feel that people are still very interested in golden visa. In terms of nationalities, probably have a bit change of nationalities. I'm seeing American people increase a lot lately, and somehow Indian people also increasing. Unfortunately, for me as a Chinese, I'm seeing that the Chinese market is still interesting in the Portugal market, but there's some difficulty to reach Portugal because of the situation of pandemic in China is still in lockdown in many cities. So in one hand, we can see that people still want to invest abroad and invest in the golden visa, not only in Portugal and also in other countries. But on the other hand, we can see a lot of restrictions to come and have it. Talking about a little bit in terms of project that our company used to look. We divide them into categories: one short-term projects, and medium long-term projects. Because in terms of golden visa, we can reach it in many different ways. For example, of short-term projects could be some apartments for refreshment, some small buildings or stores. It is still possible, for example, to do a golden visa in Lisbon by buying stores or tourist projects. So in terms of short-term projects, is possible to invest on it. Ready projects or with small works on that, and the period is shorter. Of course, the return will be lower, but the risks are smaller. And also we have medium and long-term project, which depends on licensing, works, etc., more complex refreshment projects. And there we are talking about 2 to 4 years to be accomplished this project. The return normally are higher, but the risk also higher because in Portugal, in terms of time for the licensing, depending the city, could be different and variable. So we divide into type of categories. Then moving a little bit more and associate the project to golden visa in 2022, this year, we have faced in some changes in terms of law for golden visa, which it's not anymore possible to do golden visa for residential in Lisbon and the majority of big cities and coastline cities. as I said before, it's still possible for commercial and touristic, but residential is not anymore possible. And then the focus of many developers that are used to focusing more in golden visa is changing their target to locations like Évora, like Alentejo, Algarve, and some other interior cities. For the people that, of course, it depends a little bit the type of project that each investor are looking for. Some investors still want to buy a residential property that they can stay there or can generate yield from this property. They have to choose a place that is not Lisbon or Porto or some places of Algarve. The the target is a little bit different, but all kind of investors, they have still many choices in Portugal. They can, for example, as a good example, a project from the Lakhani group, which it is in the great Lisbon area, but since it's a tourist, in terms of use, it's still possible to do. It's still possible to do golden visa. So this is an example that the developers is thinking ahead about all these kind of possibilities to give as much choices for the clients and for the investors. I don't know if there's any question about the project. I think we can have a little bit of discussion about that.
For sure, for sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Peng, for first of all sharing about yourself, your company, and your expertise are, and how you have dealt with golden visa in the past, and you intend to work with us and like the Lakhani team in the future as well. So thank you so much for that. Before I begin to ask questions, let me first ask the panelists if there's any question for discussion based on the presentation.
Yeah, Peng, excellent presentation there. I really liked the fact that you further to the developer giving the choice, you're also giving choices to the client on choosing a short-term and a long-term project, and mixing that up with the golden visa. I think that's fantastic. I think you are very accurate also in terms of return that you've posted there around the 15 to 20% mark if they are investing in a rehabilitation project. So I think personally you've been very professional in terms of the offering that you have. What are your concerns? Not concerns, but what are your thoughts on the increasing construction prices that we are currently facing, and if other developers are still able to kind of provide the same consistent return on a short term or a long term basis? How are you feeling in regards to that?
So regarding the returns, it's always depending a little bit about where the project it is and all the conditions that are associated. But in my opinion, in terms of touristic grownness, we can see that the tourism is back again. Like the data that we have before pandemic, we can already feel this number is increasing. And from my perspective, the numbers will increase. And we are, in this summer, we are already facing that many places are full of tourists, and also the big, let's say, the big picture showed us that the war and the pandemic helps a little bit the tourism in Portugal because of the location and the safe that people feels here. So I believe that, of course, the construction cost will influence, but the increase of tourism will balance this situation.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing that sorry, go ahead, Isabel. You had something to add there.
I would like also only to add to what Peng said, and very well, that for the properties that are already built, this is the let's say an advantage because which is already built, the cost is already there. So if you buy something, some property which is already built, you can still buy it at the construction cost that effectively it was built, and it's natural that it will increase. It's increasing everywhere, not only in Portugal, but we still have a lot which is already built, and on which the investors who do not lose time, they will profit from that. Sorry.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Peng, I have one more question. And this is to learn a little bit more about the reason why Chinese investment has gone down significantly. I mean, I completely understand pandemic being restrictive, mobility is being restrictive, but is there more to it than we hear in the market? Like, is there something that is the investment going to ever return back the same way that it used to be? What is the sort of the apart from the pandemic sentiment? Is there a political sentiment? Is there a commercial sentiment to it as well about investment from China?
I think from China, actually the pandemic have a big impact on that, but not only so, because the situation of China has changed a little bit in terms of economical situation also. Not directly from pandemics, but also influenced by pandemics. So, as an example, that many peoples are used to face some economical conditions. Now they are more aware about doing investment abroad, and we can also see that the Chinese companies, the investment of Chinese companies in Europe have decreased in the last years. So
Yeah.
it's a global decrease in terms of investment from China. Not only about the golden visa or about individuals, but is a global situation that China is facing, and the war and the pandemic is not helping about that.
Is the investments still happening, and it's happening in China now, or is the investments just frozen, like because of the economic situation? Like, what is that reality like? Are there investments, the Chinese large scale investments I'm talking about, are they happening within China, or they've just basically taken a pause until situations improve?
Yes, they have paused a lot of company have paused the investment, of course, and it makes like a butterfly effect in terms of the scale of China, and of course it was frozen during the pandemic, and now China is feeling this
Mhm.
pulse in terms of investment. Yes.
Okay. It's good to know. Isabel, do you have any questions that you'd like to learn from Peng?
Well, Peng, from your experience, since you are dealing with a golden visa, I'm sure that you have always noticed that these fluctuations between which nationality is applying more or less depending on these international circumstances. How
Mhm.
so? How do you envisage the future? So now what's happening and from now on?
The Chinese market have decreased a lot in the pandemic time being, but I'm feeling that the number will grow again, not as like before, but is growing again because. The pandemics have also doing two phases in terms of golden visa investment. In one hand, in terms of economically, have impact from the people that are used to do a golden visa easily. But in the other hand, for the people that are thinking again about the freedom in certain circumstances, they are trying to move abroad. They are choosing to have a second way to live. So there's a new type of people from China that they are choosing to do golden visa, and in our group we also have a company in Greece which has also a golden visa, and we are feeling that the Chinese market is back again, little by little, but he is back again. In terms of golden visa, in general, I feel that the U.S. market is increasing a lot, and maybe the biggest market is increasing in terms of numbers. Um, and the Indian market, I am seeing also that years ago was, let's say, in sleep mode, but I think will also increase in the next time.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
That is true. I'm actually out here in the US now, and some of the stats actually get reported as Indian millionaires, but a lot of them are also residing in the US. So the stats are a bit intermingling. A lot of the professionals or investors who are coming in directly from India, they're not really directly from India. They have funds, pretty much all over the place, and they do hold an Indian passport, and that's why the metrics gets reported in India. But it's really millionaires and investors from all over the world that are now seeing sort of an instability, in the Indian market also. Um, I was listening to the financial markets this morning, and just as much there is a recession fear in the United States right now, and 75% basis points is probably going to increase another time by the central bank here, and interest rates will be close to 8.5%. The same fear lies in India as well, where the inflation is at its peak. So market hedging, even though the euro has fallen slightly against the US dollar. Even then, euro is still a little bit of a safer bet because we're not in a doom recession state just yet. But what are your opinions on recession in Portugal? Like, what do you recommend your clients when you talk about recession in Portugal?
For me,
Yeah. It's a discussion. It's a discussion.
in terms of investment, yeah. I think in terms of foreign investment, in terms of investment on properties, I think is still a big or still a good investment here in Portugal. I think the value will at least maintain from some period in the future. I'm not seeing that the price in Portugal will decrease a lot because yes, the how to say the taxes in the bank is increasing, yes, but
Yeah.
the construction cost is increasing and the yield will probably increase. So there's margin for investors to invest in Portugal. I think it's still a good opportunity for
Yeah.
all kind of investors that want to invest in Portugal.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And you, Isabel, do you agree with the same?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
And in Portugal, if we would have more construction, even we would sell more, even for our nationals. So we have a kind of deficit of construction.
Yeah.
So in this case, it plays in favor of keeping the prices high. I cannot envisage as even in the scenario of a larger global recession, we know that property is what holds golden property are what hold the 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 the,
The
the
value.
value.
Yeah.
So and tendentially we are in a very peaceful area. Normally we stay apart from big conflicts, although
Yeah.
today we have to think of conflict as global, having global consequences. But normally we are not in the scenario of war. We are more happily. So fortunately, so this also plays in favor of security and safety. If we can have it anywhere, it's probably a country like Portugal.
Probably here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for the brilliant discussion. And lastly, we have another person in the room, which is Rahim Lakhani, who is here to discuss more about the newly launched 7X Fund, the team's track record, and its investment strategies. So, Mr. Rahim Lakhani is presenting the 25 million euro venture capital fund, which is 7X. He's also the president and the CEO of the Lakhani Group and a seasoned real estate investor that owns and operates several properties in Portugal, Canada, USA, and in India, which are invest in the market of distressed asset and restructuring of the companies in advanced operational stages. So, Rahim, the forum is all yours.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Afsana, for the kind introduction. Really appreciate everyone joining in and sharing your feedback on your views of the world. I'm currently in the US on a bit of a tour, so to speak. With COVID didn't allow us to kind of be out here and talk to investors on a one-on-one basis to get to know what's happening. Why, like Peng said, some investments were frozen. So I guess I'm here just to kind of understand the local market and understand the local sentiment and encourage the investment down to Portugal, down to the investments that we have. And it's been an excellent ride. We are a family-owned and operated firm with multi-decade experience here in the real estate development world. And we invest in hospitality majorly, and in student housing, and alojamento local, which is local housing in Portugal, and other commercial retail investments as well. So it's been a great ride in Portugal. We've been operating out there for about the last 4 years. I'm a Canadian, and people get surprised when they hear that Canadians moving out to Portugal. But I'll tell you that's weather is largely the reason for it. And the niceness of the people, the regardless of where you go, I think you from north to south in Portugal, you get welcomed by many, and they treat you as your own, which is not equivocal in all parts of the world at the current stage, especially. So it's quite nice. It gives you that stability of making large investments and coming and living in Portugal and being in Portugal. So we're quite happy. We have launched, and for that very reason, we have launched several different vehicles where the investors can come and benefit. So we have today the 7X Investment Fund, which is the Golden Visa Fund eligible fund. It for the minimum investment of 500,000, and literally very minimal paperwork involved. This can be your hassle-free kind of investment that you can make. In most cases, Portugal is a tax-heavy country. When you own property, you have your capital gains, you have your income tax of 25%, you have your title transfer tax. So the investment fund takes out all of this. There is 0% on all of that. The best part is there is no capital gains on the investment into the investment fund. And we invest in real estate projects. We invest in hospitality projects. We invest in operating assets and near operating assets. So it's a hands-off operation. It's a operation where you can diversify your investments in various different projects. It is authorized and supervised by the Portuguese Securities Commission. It took us a long time to get the licensure, and it's a very tough process. And they look at the background and the portfolio of each individual management team person to really give you the feeling that the people being giving licensed are credible people. And we have a strong supervisory board as well that assists us in all of the reporting and all of the protection to the investors. So there's quite a lot of people involved in the decision making of the venture capital funds. Largely, the idea is the protection of investors and selecting good, strong projects. The project that we currently have, which is Quinta do Porto Velho, a very strong project for both if you want to own the Golden Visa, if you want to own the villa directly, or if you want to become a part of the investment fund that will indirectly own assets. Both are possible methods of having a strong ownership into the project. This project specifically is based only 15 minutes away from Lisbon Airport, which is in the center of the city, and in a very nice and scenic vineyard composition, where we are surrounded by about 40 acres of land and mostly vineyard at a very it's at a very good elevation. It has a very good microclimate that is favorable to having an own brand of Busalas wine, which is the Arinto grape, which is the white wine. Very well known. In fact, recently we've also seen the Busalas Portuguese winemakers put together a coalition to market out the brand at a world stage, and it was well recognized by several municipalities, and their efforts were well recognized by international markets as well. So there is quite a unique taste to it. There's quite a lot of history in the area as well. This particular project has a private condominium. It has a private security. It also has a clubhouse, a community center for all the services that that you must expect from a luxury resort. So like the gym, the spa, business conference center, event center. You have the outdoor tennis and paddle court. You have electric chargers. You have pharmacy and supermarket on site. You have shuttle services to the airport and back, and to the city center and back, at no cost, at no extra cost. And you have services, so you can live in the villa with all the services as a resort. So you have free cleaning, free maintenance of your yard, all of this included under one cost, under one investment. So these are the great projects that we would like to bring to our clients, which are good both if you want to live there permanently, or if you want to rent it out on a guaranteed yield between 3 to 6%, or a variable yield, with whatever the variable yield turns out to be. Initially, we are targeting around 7 to 10, and on a long-term basis, even higher. So these are the kind of strong projects that we make proposals to our investors to invest. And our team is a strong team now. We've been here, like I said, 4 years. We're a very strong team now with our construction company having over 40 years of commercial, touristic asset development experience. So this is what we continuously like to bring, is very, very strong projects. So when you invest in the investment fund, or when you invest in a villa directly, these are the kinds of projects that we would like to showcase to you. This is not in the middle of Alentejo. This is not in the interior region. These are strong projects. So let's say there is a recession that we talked about earlier. Price points will be hit, most likely, if there is a strong recession. But being this close to the Lisbon city center, I don't see, or I don't think any of the professionals here see that there will be any hiccup to the price point at all. Of course, in the interior regions, you will feel this effect, but not so much in Lisbon. So that's it from our side. Please contact us for investment into the fund. Like I said, it's a 500,000 euros investment for the golden visa, or a minimum of 100,000 euros if you only are looking for a return on your investment. Either which way, the composition is very, very strong, and the assets are very, very strong. And this is what we like to portray to our investors. So back over to you, Sam.
Thank you so much, Rahim. And I think conclude this webinar in a simple term, if you can explain the difference between investing in an investment fund versus investing in a real estate. So what is the main difference between the two? In both of the situation, you get the golden visa, right? But what is the main difference?
I think the main difference is taxation. The biggest difference, and also hands-free operation, right? So when you own real estate, you are technically, in some cases, really involved in the physical brick and mortar. In the case of the investment fund, not so much. You're looking at a net asset value of your property, and that's about it. But largely, it's the taxation.
All right. Any other questions from the panelists here, from Peng or Isabel?
Well, it's I believe that Quinta do Forte Velho really is a wonderful investment for someone who wants to keep near to Lisbon. It's quite unique. I have investigated on this, and it's perfect for it's per square meter, and all it's offered in the project. It will become very comfortable to live there, and a perfect solution for foreigners who do not have to live there all the time, or to worry over how they will manage it. because all will be done for them. So I highly recommend, because it's the project I know well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Isabel.
Yes, for my part, I also share the same opinion of Isabel, and I think is perfect solution for who wants to hold a investment in Portugal and get a golden visa, or even get a golden visa and live in Portugal, but also close to the center. So this, I think, is a sell point of this fantastic project.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Isabel and Peng, for being here. Rahim, thank you for your presentation. And here we are trying to close the entire webinar. I hope it was educational one for everyone. And thank you for the people who were listening to us and the team behind who made this as a success. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you for
Bye.
the invitation. Bye.